of them, and here are our top stories. Retired generals back calls for state of emergency on terrorism fueled by Lucky Irabor's new book. Nigeria's oil production to hit 1.8 million BPD before December ending, Ojulari promises. Reps committee to meet political parties on constitution review today. Imo begins payment of 104,000 minimum wage to workers. First Lady calls for recruitment of more teachers. On international scene, France's new Prime Minister Le Cornu resigns hours after naming cabinet. And in sport, Africa joins E1 Power Belt show in Lagos. Those are our top stories. Details coming up now. We begin the world news at 12 with story that some retired senior military officers have backed the call for former Chief of Defense Staff General Lucky Irabor retired for the declaration of state of emergency to effectively address the Boko Haram insurgency. In his new book, Scars, Nigeria's Journey and the Boko Haram Conundrum, Irabor argued that the absence of political will had hindered Nigeria's response to the insurgency, stressing that an emergency proclamation backed by the National Assembly would mobilize all elements of national power towards ending the war. Irabor, who served as the CDS under the Buhari administration, says it should be noted that strategy deals with the aggregate of the elements of national power. These include economic, political, social, diplomatic, information, and military. It also says the political authority stands at the apex. The success at the tactical and operational levels will never translate to victory if there is a failure at the strategic level. Tactical operations alone rarely bring about the desired outcome in political situations. Despite being degraded by the military following the killing of many of its top commanders and the arrest of hundreds of its foot soldiers, Boko Haram's attacks in the north have intensified recently, causing widespread destruction and displacement. Last week, the group seized the border town of Kirawa in Borno State, forcing thousands to flee to neighboring Cameroon. The attack led to the destruction of a military barracks, dozens of homes, and the palace of the district head. Over 5,000 people reportedly fled to Cameroon due to the recent attacks. Boko Haram fighters also stormed an army base in Borno State, killing 4 soldiers and setting military equipment on fire. A coordinated attack on security formations in Banki was repelled by joint security forces, with 1 police constable sustaining minor injuries. The group chief executive officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL), Bayo Ojulari, is confident that the nation's oil production will be hit 1.8 million barrels per day crude benchmark before the year ends. Ojulari stated this after visiting President Bola Tinubu in Lagos. The NNPCL boss was in Lagos to brief the president on the activities of the National Oil Company since its appointment on April 2. He said with some of the turnaround maintenance that have been done in August and September, all of those are meant to come back this month. The Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengassin, and Dangote Refinery had been at loggerheads over the alleged sacking of more than 800 Nigerian workers and replacing them with foreign staff. To press home their demands, Pengassin on September 26 instructed its members to embark on nationwide strike. 5 days later, the union suspended its nationwide strike after the Dangote Group agreed to redeploy the workers sacked by its subsidiary, Dangote Refinery, following the federal government's intervention. Weighing in on this, the NNPC boss lamented the loss that occurred within the short period the strike lasted. He explained that the nation lost what he described as significant production to the industrial action. The House of Representatives Committee on Constitution Review will on Monday today meet with leadership of registered political parties in the ongoing move to amend the 1999 Constitution. Chaired by the Deputy Speaker of the House, Benjamin Kalu, the committee has identified key areas of possible amendments to the nation's extant laws, including state police, power revolution, local government autonomy, and special seats for women, among others. The committee a few weeks ago toured the 6 geopolitical zones, collating stakeholders' input on the constitution review process, and is expected to submit a final draft to the National Assembly in December 2025 for adoption. In a statement issued by the House spokesperson Akin Rotimi, the Green Chamber said the session will feature deliberations on priority areas including electoral reforms, independent candidacy, local government reforms, human rights, justice, and more. Speaking ahead of the engagement, Kalu described the meeting as a strategic platform for political parties to bring their experience and institutional insights to bear. The statement added there is a summarized compendium of the bills currently under consideration by the committee. The Imo State government has commenced payment of the new 104,000 naira minimum wage to workers, fulfilling its earlier promise to review salaries upward. The state employees received alert of reflecting the new wage structure, sparking excitement and gratitude towards Governor Hope Uzodinma for the implementation. Uzodinma had approved the payment of 104,000 for fresh government workers, 513,000 naira for medical doctors, and 220,000 naira as the entry point salary for lecturers in state-owned tertiary institutions. With the implementation, Imo State now tops the list of states paying above the minimum wage of 70,000 naira. Lagos State follows with 88,000 naira. Rivers State pays 85,000 naira, while Akwa Ibom and Bayelsa State each offer 80,000 naira. According to a statement released by the Special Advisor to the Governor on Public Enlightenment, Eze Ugochukwu, the new wage policy will strengthen the state economy and improve workers' welfare. Ugochukwu said the goal of this wage hike is to bolster the financial capacity of workers, empowering them to better address their requirements and invest in goods and services. This, in turn, will give a shot to the arm to local businesses. The First Lady of Nigeria, Oluremi Tinubu, has called for recruitment of more professional teachers in the country and investment in their growth. She made the call in a message in Abuja in commemoration of the 2025 World Teachers' Day, with the theme focusing on the global teacher shortage. She said there is urgent need to draw more attention to teaching, being one of society's noblest professions. According to Tinubu, there is need to take more care of teachers as a way of encouraging more people to take up the profession. Tinubu described teachers as true heroes, shaping minds, nurturing dreams, and guiding generations. The First Lady acknowledged teachers' invaluable role in nation building and the fortune and the future of humanity. She also paid a glowing tribute to educators across the country. Tinubu stated that as a lifelong teacher herself, she holds deep respect for the profession and those who dedicated their lives to it. According to the president's wife, the theme of this year's celebration is a timely reminder of the urgent need to address the dwindling number of teachers worldwide. Meanwhile, Edo State government has announced the absorption of 4,000 volunteer teachers under the Edo Star Teaching Program and recruitment of 500 new teachers to strengthen the state's education system. Bade Iyamo, Commissioner for Education, said this in Benin during the 2025 World Teachers' Day celebration themed Recasting Teaching as a Collaborative Profession. Iyamo said the move reflected Governor Monday Okpebolo's commitment to rewarding dedication and addressing dearth of teachers in public primary and secondary schools. The commissioner noted that the gesture would end the era of prolonged probation for volunteer teachers and help bridge the manpower gap in schools across the state. Even an apprentice does not train for 3 years without confirmation, he added, assuring that the teachers will receive their appointment letters at the public ceremony in Government House. Yamu said that the state had built over 68 schools in less than 1 year and trained more than 6,000 teachers in digital and technical skills, including robotics and artificial intelligence, to enhance classroom delivery. Earlier, Bernard Ajobwewe, chairman of the Nigerian Union of Teachers and UT Edo Wing, commended the government for implementing the 75,000 naira minimum wage. If you're just tuning in, this is the World News at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Up next is our analysis segment, and I have Peter Anosike, current affairs analyst. He is also an academic doctor with PhD on consulting and profit management from Brainerd University in the state of Delaware, United States. He is also the author of the book Abuse of Power: How Democracy Turned into Tyranny of the Few. Dr. Anosike, thank you very much for joining us on the news at 12.
Thank you for having me.
Now let's go to the major talking point for the day, where some retired senior military officers have backed the call by former Chief of Defense Staff General Lucky Irabor, retired, for the declaration of a state of emergency to effectively address the Boko Haram insurgency. Of course, in his new book, Scars, Nigeria's Journey and the Boko Haram Conundrum, Irabor argued that the absence of political will had hindered Nigeria's response to the insurgency. I mean, I'm sure you've read the story and maybe one or two of incepts of the book. I don't think he said anything that lots of Nigerians don't already know.
Yeah, my concern is this. Irabor had been Chief of Defense Staff of this country. So where and when this idea came, you were
the
in
revelation,
yes,
the epiphany.
Yes. When did the Holy Spirit visited you? We did not visit you when you were in the office. This is what the former EFCC chairman did. After serving for 4 years, he came and
start lecturing Nigerians
on what to do. Why didn't you do it when you were in the office? So for me, it is not about just a political will. There must be capacity. Capacity should come before political will, because if you have political will and you don't have capacity, there's nothing that you can do. So for me, the current administration don't have that capacity to fight insurgents.
Are you sure it's capacity or political will? Because, I mean, from stories we keep getting, the rumors are getting louder that some political heavyweights are involved in financing of this terrorism. And the Muhammad Buhari administration threw more light on this, shouting to us and telling us that there is a list, and even he as president apparently couldn't do anything about that list. And if information or rumor is anything to go by, some of those lists were handed over to the current administration, and up till now they've not been able to do anything. Don't you think that's more of political will than anything else?
It didn't start today. Even Jonathan, when he was in power, he said that Boko Haram has infiltrated his own government. That Boko Haram has infiltrated his own government. And you as a president, you know that some strange elements are in your government, and you don't do
anything about it.
So it is issue of capacity. It is the issue of capacity.
Because why I'm arguing against it is, for you to be the president of Nigeria, you must be worth it. I mean, we can't underestimate the power of godfatherism, where some of these godfathers just basically pick successors they think will be loyal to them. But on the surface, you know, okay, these people have the capacity to govern the country. And when you also take a look at this chief of these service chiefs, the military top brass, all of them have been serving in different military capacity for years. Before, even though of course it's still a political appointment, you can't deny the fact that they also have experience in the military. You know, but yet when they get to that office, they have to toe the political line of what their
principal
wants.
Well, the issue is in Nigeria, we don't appoint the best. And because the way these people comes into office, they come with the backing of some people. I know of when a new IG is coming that was to be appointed, people were just mobilizing funds so that their own person would emerge as the IG. So that shows that most of the time, these service chiefs are not appointed based on merit. They are not appointed based on merit. And when you are not appointed based on merit, there's no way you can give what you don't have.
Now, let's take General Lucky Irabor retired now, for example. The fact that he has written a book, Scar's Journey to Nigeria's Journey and Boko Haram Conundrum, and some of the things he said shows he actually had the capacity, had the knowledge to do what is supposed to be done to fight insurgency and Boko Haram, if only there was the political will from his principals to give him the backing to do the right thing.
If you are in office, your name should be important to you. What should I be remembered after occupying this office? What should I be remembered after being in this office? Ebitu Kiwe resigned from Babangida's administration.
Come on, we know in Africa, especially in Nigeria, resignation is not a thing. Some of them will definitely die in that office than resigning.
Ebitu Kiwe resigned from Babangida's administration because of simply seat arrangement.
Those are rare situations. Those are rare cases. It's not an everyday thing. I mean, political appointees are appointed to serve their master, and they can only do what their master wants. That is, if you don't want to kill your political career, then I mean, see what similar life Fubara tried to do, and it almost ended. I mean, let's be frank. If his political career is practically ended, because the percentage of him coming back for a second term as Rivers State governor is almost, I mean, zero. We also saw the issue with Ambody because of how strong godfatherism is in Nigeria. Doing the right thing takes the back seat when it comes to political vision, and political was for lack of better word. Let's just use the word vision.
Well, the issue is this: there are two things in people getting an appointment. Some people come that they are looking for a job. Some come because they want to serve. So It depends on what brought you into the office. Are you looking for a job, or have you come to serve? If you come to serve, you'll be conscious of your name. You'll be conscious of how people will remember you after you have left that office. So if you are appointing just people who has no job anywhere, like in Nigeria, we have billionaires without enterprise. That's what we have everywhere. Who their only politics is their source of income. They don't have any business that they are doing. Ordinarily, for you to become a billionaire, you must have more than 1,000 workers, because it is human beings that will generate that
money for you.
But you see, most of our billionaires in this country, they don't even have a company that employs more than 50 people.
They became billionaires through political pursuits.
A typical example is your FCT minister. So for me, it is the issue of capacity and then followed by political will.
Now, let's also talk about something that's becoming very common these days. I mean, just like you've rightly mentioned, we see lots of political appointees. Apparently, they know what to do, and we also see that in a lot of chief judges of Nigeria too, where by the time they retire, they start giving lectures of, hey, this is the kind of reforms that should be done. This is the kind of judicial reform that should be done. This case should have been done this way. This case should have been done this way. And you begin to wonder, oh, so you knew about this while you were NCG president or chief judge of Nigeria.
The problem is those who listen to them. They are the problem, because a retired judge cannot come to inside an empty hall and begin to pontificate. So the problem is that there are people who are listening to him, assuming that those people walked out. He will not be saying that. For me, Irabor has nothing to tell me. He has been in that office. He didn't do anything.
I mean, in a country where we worship political appointees, you think that is possible?
No. If you have conscience, we need to be working out on all these people. And when you work out on them, they will realize the mistake that they have made. But I'm sure when Irabor was pontificating, people will be praising him. And there's no second chance for first impression.
Which means, with this also further buttresses the problem that our problem in Nigeria is not just leaders. Even we followers have our own share of the blame.
Followers are even the major problem. Followers in Nigeria are because most of Nigeria followers are very
gullible,
sycophantic. Now imagine a governor will use their tax and build a road. You'll be praising him for building a road. Why he built it with your own money, with state fund?
You do a sort of celebration and dance and party.
Or the other day, Nyesom Wike say they hate me and they drive on my own road.
Wow.
Which road? Has Wike ever run a company in this country? That they hate him and they are still running on his own road that you built with people's
taxpayers' money,
the taxes. So the major problem that you have in this country is followers, because when you begin to work out on them, they will begin to realize that what they have done.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anosike. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for your insight.
Thank you for having me.
That was Peter Anosike, current affairs analyst. He's also an academic doctor with PhD on consulting and profit management from Brainerd University in the state of Delaware, United States. He's also the author of the book Abuse of Power: How Democracy Turned into Tyranny of the Few. And for a quick look at what's happening outside Nigeria, French Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu has stepped down just weeks after taking office and hours after naming a cabinet, further deepening the country's long-running political crisis. The French presidency, in a statement on Monday, said President Emmanuel Macron has accepted his close ally's resignation. Appointed nearly a month ago, Lecornu had come under increasing pressure in recent weeks as he struggled to pass a budget through France's fractured parliament amid a debt crisis. He named his ministers on Sunday evening, but quit his post hours later, making his government one of the shortest lived in French history. The new cabinet has been set to hold its first meeting on Monday afternoon, but after Lecornu's promises to break with the strategy of his unpopular predecessor, François Bayrou, the lineup of new ministers angered both his appointments and allies alike. Many figures in Lecornu's cabinet had served in the previous government. The French parliament has been divided between far-right and far-left blocs since Macron announced snap elections in 2024. Lecornu was Macron's fifth prime minister in the past 2 years, and his sudden resignation sparked opposition calls for the president to step down and a new election to be held. And now to sports news. Rain-soaked Nigeria's bustling metropolis of Lagos hosted a race in the UIM E1 World Championship with an all-electric powerboat racing series, the first time that such an event has been held in Africa. An earlier tropical storm delayed the start of the finals, with 9 teams belonging to some of the world's top sporting and entertainment stars waiting for hours for the storm to clear. The E1 Lagos Grand Prix, the predominant The penultimate round of the season was held on Lagos's Lagoon ahead of the season finale in Miami later this year. Africa is the fourth continent to host an E1 race during the series' second season, as the championship was expanded from 5 to 7 races. Previous competitions had been held in Jeddah, Doha, Monaco, and Miami. Rodi Basso, founder and CEO of E1, told journalists that, quote, Africa needed to be there, the motherland needed to be there, so we are incredibly proud to be here, end of quote. And just before we go, here again are the top stories. Retired generals call back calls for state of emergency on terrorism, fueled by Lucky Irabor's new book. Nigeria's oil production to hit 1.8 million BPD before December ending, Ojulari promises. Reps committee to meet political parties on constitutional review today. Imo begins payment of 104,000 naira minimum wage to workers. First Lady calls for recruitment of more teachers. Outside Nigeria, France's new Prime Minister Lecornu resigns hours after naming cabinet. And in sport, Africa joins E1 Powerboat show in Lagos. And that's the World News at 12. I am Solomon of FM. Do follow our social media handles at VOP903FM. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at VOP903FM. Good afternoon and thank you for listening.